For a long time, I kept repeating the story that I was lazy, not because I thought it was true, but because a few people told me so. For some reason, those were the voices that stuck. What's funny is that at the same time, other people were looking at my life in awe, impressed of what I had built and how much I had changed and how much I had accomplished. Yet their perception didn't land as deeply as the criticism did. Looking back, I can see why. I wasn't questioning whether I was lazy, I was questioning whether I had these people approval. And the people whose approval I was unconsciously chasing all shared a specific worldview. To them, life is supposed to be hard. Success is supposed to be exhausting. Worthiness is measured by early alarms and cold plunges and 5-mile runs and calendars packed from morning to night. And if you're not fighting your way through the day, then you must not want it enough. So when my life didn't look like that, I assumed there was something wrong with me. I wake up and I don't jump out of bed immediately. I usually snooze for about 30 minutes. And for a long time, I thought that made me lazy because other people pride themselves in popping up at 4 a.m. like soldiers and, jumping straight into the shower. But those 30 minutes to me are not nothing. In those moments, I'm mentally going through what I want to get done during the day, what actually matters to me, what I said last night that I wanted to do today. Sometimes I meditate, sometimes I consciously choose gratitude before I even move an inch. If my body feels relaxed, I try to stay still for a few seconds and scan my body, and just that feeling of calm, of safety, of relaxation. That's not laziness, that's regulation, intention, alignment. But alignment doesn't look impressive to people who think struggle is the only proof of commitment. At some point, I made the decision of stop calling myself lazy anymore, and I started calling myself soft. Soft does not mean unmotivated, soft does not mean passive, soft does not mean small. I am deeply ambitious. I want abundance in my work, in my relationships, in my health, my time, my creativity. I want a full life. But abundance to me includes enjoyment and ease. I'm not here to fight my way through life just to earn the right to rest later. I do have desires and I take them seriously, but I also leave room for life to just surprise me. Some of the best things I've experienced weren't even on my vision board. They were beyond what I would have dared ask for. And that it's also important because sometimes we are our own limitation. We dismiss the possibilities before life even has a chance to show us how good it could get. We decide something is too much or too extravagant or too unrealistic. We call ourselves realistic for giving up early. And from the outside, that also can look like laziness. But it's not laziness, it's fear. The difference now is that I don't label things as impossible. I feel like everything feels possible to me. I just don't believe that effort has to equal suffering. I trust that the universe will show me the way. My job isn't to force the outcome, is to listen and to respond and to flow with what feels aligned and to take a step that actually moves the needle. And here's something that I've noticed without judgment. This is just an observation. The people who were calling me lazy were working 15 hours a day, grinding, hustling, always busy, always tired, and yet they are not really moving forward. Or if they do, it's kind of like they move one square where I seem to move 3 without burning myself out. That's the magic of manifestation. This is where manifestation and mindset come in. Manifestation isn't about effort, it's about identity, acting from the version of you who already has what you want, not the version of you who's trying to earn it through exhaustion. The law of assumption doesn't ask you to do more, it asks you to be different. And when you're aligned, even the smallest actions carry disproportionate weight. It's the Pareto principle in real life. You can be busy 80% of the day, but only 20% of your actions actually matter. And if you're tuned in enough to consistently show up for that 20%, the conversations that matter, the ideas that are worth acting on, then you don't need to be busy all the time. Busyness is often just avoidance in a productivity outfit of the day. I've also noticed that the same people that equate rest with laziness often can't sit with themselves. They work all day and then they go out every night. They fill their calendars, they fill their hours, they fill the silence. And it's not just because they love the connection. I love my friends too, but it's because being alone with their thoughts feels unbearable. And add substances and noise and constant stimulation, and then Tuesday night turns into a blur, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday. And somehow choosing to stay home, take a bath, read, sleep, or just quietly exist becomes the lazy choice. But wanting to stay in doesn't make me lazy. Wanting to be regulated doesn't make you lazy. Wanting peace doesn't make you lazy. It makes you someone who actually enjoys their own company. And I do. I like spending time with me. That's why I'm not scared of silence. That's why I don't need to feel every moment. That's why I can hear my intuition. That's why manifestation works better for me when I am soft instead of pushy. Imagine life or the universe as a person, as a friend. You wouldn't try to manipulate them by overperforming. You wouldn't say, well, I did this for you, so now what are you going to do for me? Like keeping score. And yet that's exactly how many people treat the universe and manifestation. Well, I just did 500 affirmations like it's a transaction. I put the extra hours as if it's like a bargaining chip. But life doesn't respond to bargaining, it responds to coherence. And this isn't about shaming hustle. Some people thrive in that structure, some people love intensity, and that's fine. This is about knowing your truth. I am sensitive to misalignment. I feel it fast. So I refuse to force myself into systems that drain me just because they look like discipline. You are not lazy. You are intuitive. You're selective. You're efficient. You are soft and powerful. Let me tell you, the version of me who already has what I want isn't exhausted. She's so cool, she's so chill, she's so grounded, she's present. So she knows when to act and when to rest. She doesn't confuse suffering with progress. If you've ever been told that you're lazy when what you really are is tired or overwhelmed or just deeply misaligned, maybe it's time to change the word. You're not lazy, you're listening. And that is the most ambitious thing that you can do.